This is Jerry over at Fin Tire and Auto. We have your vehicle in right now. We did some diagnostic work on to find out, one, why your vehicle is stalling on you and why the check engine light is on. The check engine light is on for a few different reasons that are causing. There's actually about 7 different trouble codes relating to 3 different systems of the vehicle, and I'll go over those with you. The first thing I want to show you while we're under the hood, before I even start the vehicle, we have one failed part called the mass airflow sensor, which is this assembly right here that reads the rate of speed and the temperature of the air entering the engine. If it does not get a correct reading, that can cause issues as far as drivability. Fuel consumption also can cause the vehicle to stall. Underneath this assembly, which is the intake manifold, there's a throttle. This tube right here goes to the throttle. It's an electronic throttle. That throttle over time builds up with carbon and can stick. It can also restrict airflow, which can cause stalling. I'm going to show you here in a minute. There's an assembly down here underneath the intake manifold. All the way down here, you see where this hose right here is going. It's going to what's called the oil separator. The oil separator is very similar to a PCV system or a PCV valve on a regular vehicle. When the PCV system is plugged up, the engine builds up with pressure and can cause different faults. It can also cause stalling of the vehicle. I want to show you right now, we have a leak here as well. This is the power steering reservoir. It is low on fluid. At some point, somebody took an air conditioning line and tied it to the power steering feed line where it actually rubbed a hole through this hose. And if you look further down, this unit right here is your alternator, and you're leaking power steering fluid right down onto the alternator. And I can tell you just by looking at the fluid that is the incorrect fluid for this system. The system does require a specialty fluid called Pentacin that should be part of that power steering system. So what we should be doing to protect the alternator and to protect your power steering, replace this hose right here and flush out the fluid that's in there and put the correct fluid in. We talked about your window, which is most likely a regulator. The regulator comes with the motor. Ultimately, the door, everything would have to, the panel would have to be removed. The glass has to be taken out, and then you can work and finagle out the regulator motor assembly. It is a couple-hour job to get that done, but it's something we could definitely handle for you. We talked about your climate control system, how your blower doesn't work on any speeds. It could be a blower motor, it could be the controller for the blower motor that causes that. You had mentioned that you had heard noise. Ultimately, we would have to get into diagnostics. You would have to approve us to take some of the dash apart down underneath to get to that blower and to inspect it, see if it has power going to it, and see whether it works or not when we apply power to it. I'm going to start the vehicle right now. I had mentioned to you just a little bit ago, we have that oil separator underneath with a PCV system, the positive crankcase ventilation. Now when the engine is running, it should be running and creating vacuum. Right now your engine is creating pressure because that PCV system, that oil separator is plugged. And the reason I know that, this is your oil dipstick tube. When I pull that off and I put my finger over the hole, I should feel a little bit of a vacuum. However, you're actually going to visibly be able to see it's blowing out pressure. If you see that smoke coming out, that smoke is a buildup of crankcase pressure. Your engine is building up way too much pressure. Not only is that causing drivability concerns with the vehicle, it can cause the engine to fail. It can cause seals to blow out, where you're just blowing engine oil everywhere. So in my opinion, the #1 concern will be replacing that oil separator assembly, because that can cause the most damage if you keep driving that way. The next thing I would be doing is that mass airflow sensor. Oh, and I did want to show you one other thing, that the power steering system is leaked all over, which can also cause an air leak. This tube right here is very soft, like I could almost push my finger through it. That is your turbo tube. It's coming from the intercooler, and that's what feeds your turbocharger with air. And then the air goes in the engine. This is a turbocharged engine. That tube needs to be replaced as well. That would be the number 3 most important thing. And then the power steering leak will be the next. There's other things I could go through, like, you need tires. I don't know if the timing belt's ever been replaced in this engine. That's another very important part that if it hasn't been changed, could cause the engine to fail. My name is Jerry. When you get done viewing the video, I have all the estimates built up for you so that you can decide on what you want to get fixed. You can reach me at 440-439-2244.